Hey everybody, it's Captain Kyle and I'm here with a Superion Gift Set. This is a reissue, but it's not really. It's, again, a counterfeit knockoff. And we are going to go through it, see how the quality stacks up to the original, and go from there with a leader who's afraid of heights. Be right back. So if you've been watching the channel for a bit, you know I have reviewed a number of these: Defensor, Menasor, Bruticus, and Computron. Now it's time for Superion, and yes, at least one more is on its way. So when we get that, we'll be doing that one. But the box, as normal, looks great. It's a replica, counterfeit, perfect from the original. It's got the text specs on the back. This is the American version, which is great. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense for Slingshot to have a Brooklyn accent. Not that it makes sense anyway. But artwork on the side, same pictures of bots. And if you look at the copyright, it even says copyright 1985, Hasbro, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So it's definitely very cool if you're a box collectors, as I know some of you are. This will look very good. Now I have opened this so I could put on the stickers and the rub signs, which again, the rub signs, as with pretty much all these counterfeits so far, have not been on the bot. I've had to actually put it there myself. But I put on all the stickers so they'll look good. The only stickers that were missing were from Silverbolt. The stickers that are normally on his wings are not there, but there's a lot of repros out there that you can get, and you can add those if you need to. But it has the instructions, which I don't need. Put that aside. In the styrofoam looks good. We got all the different bots. Fireflight, we got Slingshot, we got Air Raid, we got Skydive, and of course, Silverbolt, who later on becomes a Fuzor. No, it's different Silverbolt. And all the pieces and the weapons. So I'll get these guys out. Now, unlike a lot of the merge groups, these guys don't have additional weapons that you put on in vehicle mode, which they don't really need them. It'd look weird, but we'll get all these accessories out. Now, Superion, this mold of him was reused another time in the Generation 2 line, and they had some pretty good colors. So I'm putting down the landing gear. That seems to work fine. So we can see them all in their vehicle modes together. This is what comes out of the box. I put on the stickers. One of them just tried to come off a little bit, but I put it back on. So it comes with all the little guns. It comes with the big gun, which is used both for Silverbolt and for Superion, the chest shield, the groin protector, the head. So this is what you get, pretty much what you would get in an actual set. And again, the stickers on all these guys look nice. We're just missing the ones on the wings for Silverbolt. So let's go through these guys. We'll start out with Silverbolt. It does not come with a Rolls-Royce grill for Slingshot, but I think if there's a Masterpiece version or a third-party version, it actually might come with that. But here we have Silverbolt in jet mode. Not too much you can do with jet mode other than fly him around. Looks pretty good. Pretty much what I remember as a original toy that I got back in 1985 or so when they came out, 1985, 86. I bought them all separately, not in a gift set like this one, but again, seems pretty normal. So Silverbolt, like the other leaders at the time, had an additional mode where he became a base. And for that, I'm actually going to refer to the instructions because I think I might have set them up in the base mode once. Now, these bases are actually supposed to be able to like hook on to Metroplex, the original, not the Titan's Returns or whatever that one was that I don't have. Joints are a little stiff, but again, that is to be expected. The ramp is supposed to clip on right here. It doesn't seem to want to stay that well. Not a big deal to me because I'm not going to put him in that mode anyway, but he's got a ramp and this launcher thing. I don't know, it's not really spring loaded, so it can't really launch anybody, but you can put another Aerialbot on it, or they can taxi up and scratch their paint and be on top of him. But that's the base mode. Again, I'm going to keep the ramp, but I'm probably never going to use it again. So robot mode. Now the chest shield, it's shiny, but it feels plastic, so I'm going to say this is a plastic version. Now, as I said, I put the stickers on these guys. I just looked over at one of them and it looks like one of the stickers fell off, but so you can always look into getting repro labels. His arms seem stiff, but that's better than too loose. And there he is, Silverbolt in all his Afraid of Heights glory. Now, poseability wise, you can't move his shoulders. You can only move him at the elbows, which again, they're tight. You can kind of do a weird kicking thing with the legs, but you certainly can't do any type of Jean-Claude Van Damme. If you want to be really weird, you can make him a little bow-legged. You could ride a horse. Can't turn the head. It is a G1, so there's not a heck of a lot of posability, but he's still a cool looking figure. Very chromy on the forearms. I did put on the stickers. The chest one looks kind of like he's a member of Voltron. Now with Silverbolt, I also used to put the chest plate of Superion on him because it made him look more show accurate. And it's not like it was going to interfere with his arms much, though it does disallow him from pointing entirely forward his gun, but again, imagination. And he did look much more like the show version. But that's up to you. You don't have to put it on there. If you want more freedom of movement with the arms, just put it aside. But overall, about what you'd expect whether it was real or not. So, Silverbolt. We'll put him over to the side and we'll bring in Slingshot. Now, Slingshot was voiced by Rob Paulson, and he had a Brooklyn accent, which didn't make a lot of sense, and Rob couldn't figure it out either, but that's what they went with. But very nice looking. This, I believe, is a VTOL jet, vertical takeoff and landing, so he doesn't need a runway. Though I can't be 100% sure. I am not a jet expert. It looks good, nice, pristine white. You can fly him around. He's got his nice little wheels on the bottom, his landing gear, so you can roll him a bit, but you're not going to be doing a ton of that because you're going to go, you know, the kind of thing you do with a jet. All right, so again, he doesn't have any supplemental weapons for his vehicle mode, so we're gonna just transform him and give him his little gun. Now, out of the 4 guns that come for the smaller ones, his is really easy to pick out. It's the thinnest of them. It goes on his wrist, it slides on, and there he is with his gun. Looks good. They actually did pretty well on the show in making their faces look a lot like the faces of the toys. Obviously, you can move his arms in many directions, but his legs aren't really legs. They are, all these guys have the impression of legs, but they're actually fused together, so you can't do any leg articulation stuff. But again, in the old days, we used imagination, pretended he could kneel down, or we just had them go, whee! But there he is. Again, looks pretty good, feels pretty good. The arms are not overly stiff, and they're not overly loose, so a good guy. Now, I used to know which guns went just by looking at the design of the gun, who got what gun, but let's see if this will clue me into who gets what. So this is apparently the torque rifle of Air Raid. This is the Nega gun of Skydive, and in case you were curious, Slingshot has a neutron rifle, and this double-barreled guy is Fireflight's photon displacer gun. So let's go to Fireflight. So here he is in vehicle mode. Again, he's got 2 wheels in the back. He's got a landing gear that you can flip out, so he can taxi around, of course, in jet mode. Now he feels like he actually has possibly die-cast. It's hard to tell. Definitely the chest is die-cast. The stickers were nice. They're staying on for the most part. But again, he's a jet, cool jet. Colors look right. Let's get him into bot mode. I always thought it was cool with the Aerialbots how their noses and tail fins came together to form kind of a mini jet on their back. Now the legs seem a little bit loose. He shifts down a little bit when you stand him up. They don't kind of lock into place, but so far he is able to stand well enough. The arms do seem a little bit loose. Put his photon displacer rifle on his hand. So unfortunately the arms here are a little loose, so if you point it forward, it's gonna flop down. If you kind of cock it a little bit as you're aiming it, you can kind of get it to aim forward, but overall, good guy, loose arms. So that's one minus for this set is Fireflight's loose arms. All right, Skydive. Again, he's got the flip down landing gear so he can taxi a boot. Again, nice looking jet, stickers. He does seem to have a die-cast chest. He's a jet, he flies around, and apparently he dives because he's Skydive. That's kind of his name. Well, not kind of. So let's put him into vehicle mode now. With Skydive, you can bring the wings in so they actually go underneath the rear part of the jet that's on his back. So that can keep him from collapsing. But interestingly enough, he does not have that issue. He seems pretty tight. So we'll put the Nega gun on him there. And there he is. His arms seem to be stiffer, so you can actually point the gun whichever way you want. And he does seem to be overall in good shape. Brand new toy, looks very good. So Skydive, another winner. And finally we have Air Raid. Again, the landing gear. There he is in all his jet glory, flies around. But again, overall nice looking bot. And I did, of course, put the rub signs on them, so if they're slightly off, that's all me. Hasbro was kind enough to do it in the old days. Now, the rub signs were supposed to really apply to the mini spies, because you weren't sure if the mini spies were Autobots or Decepticons until you rubbed their signs. But they expanded it to everybody, and once in a while I've heard that some Transformers had the wrong one, but that's all right. So there he is, again, just like the others. This guy does not have loose arms, so far only Fireflight is afflicted with that particular problem. But he seems to be nice bright white. Arms are posable, legs of course are not. But again, a good bot. But the real test for these guys is bringing them together into Superion. So let's see what we can do there. Now luckily, this being the G1 version, we don't have any issues, even though we have some gold chrome. There's no gold plastic issues. I had a tragic thing where I put together a G2 Superion, finally had them all, put them together, went to put Slingshot to turn him up so that his gun would be facing out, and the head broke off. But I was like, never fear, I have another one mint in package. I will just break him out. And I did. And he crumbled in my hands when transforming him. So luckily the modern toys don't seem to have the same gold plastic issues. That's a plus. Now I'm gonna put Superion together, kind of classic. I'm gonna use Slingshot and Fireflight as the arms, so I'm gonna put, the package shows Slingshot as the left arm. I'm gonna put him as the right arm. And some people compress them back when adding them. I don't for the arms, just to give him a little bit more arm space. Now Fireflight, despite feeling a little loose as far as he can go back and forth real easily, that did not look right. That should not affect Superion mode, because gravity will be our friend. Now for the legs, I do push them in just because gravity is not our friend in that case, and I don't want to cause any issues with Superion later on. I am having a little bit of difficulty getting the foot into Skydive. But it went in. And it's nice and tight, so it's not gonna fall out. We'll put his crotch protector on there. And I'm noticing that Slingshot does not want to stay as part of the group, which kind of fits his personality. And some people actually take a ramp and put it in his hand. I'm not sure if it's gonna work that way, as a shield. I don't like the look of it, so I'm gonna take it out, but the option is there and it works. So there you have him, Superion. He seems overall stable, and after, well, Slingshot seems to come out pretty easily. Seems to be a spring in there or something that's pushing him out, but if you put him in place and hold him there, you know, if you don't turn him too much, he should stay. I mean, play value back in the 80s when I first got him, I'd be a little annoyed. Nowadays, I'm more likely to put this guy in Superion mode, put him on a shelf, and he's probably not gonna be played with all that much. Or will he? But yeah, other than Slingshot having a little bit of trouble staying in, overall, he's a good Superion. Everything else seems to work well. He's one of the few combiners that can put his best foot forward, or his other foot too. So minuses on this guy, Slingshot doesn't want to stay in, but you can kind of get him to stay in. And see, I was able to move that arm without it falling out. Just be a little careful. And the loose arms on Fireflight. But overall, really good replica slash reissue slash knockoff counterfeit of the original Superion. So I am liking it. I'm glad it's part of my collection because I sold the original years ago. And this was, I think, around 70 bucks, so it wasn't super cheap, but to get an in-box gift set, it's gonna cost you quite a bit more than that if it's an original. You might be able to get a Superion that is original loose, but again, you might have to buy it piecemeal. You might have to deal with missing some accessories. So I think for the value, I think it's worth it, but that's a decision you'll have to make. And I know you inbox collectors will just get it. It looks pretty, put it on a shelf. And that is valid. I have a few things that are so pretty that I couldn't take them out of their box. A few things that I sold that were so pretty that they were still in their box, and that actually helped when I sold them. though I still miss them so much. So, okay, I'm fine. All right, so the Superion Gift Set, I'm gonna put links down in the description so you can grab yourself one. They're available on eBay. They're available on AliExpress. I don't see a lot of local retailers or US retailers carrying these unless they're importing them from China, and they might actually be charging a bit more. AliExpress and even the eBay options are usually from China. Takes a little longer, but as long as it shows up. Obviously protect yourself by using PayPal or some other payment form that you can go, and if something goes wrong, you can deal with it and be protected, at least your money. And again, keep in mind, I've heard some people have gotten Superions that were not in good shape and that were horrible. So I think it depends on which knockoff manufacturer it is. And you know, these are knockoffs, so when you're dealing with AliExpress, usually most of the vendors on there will send you relatively good quality products. If you go through eBay, you might have an option to return it or basically get your money back if there is an issue. But this one seems to be doing me well right now, and I will proudly display him in my original G1 collection. I didn't notice, but the waist kind of went up to reveal, well, he ain't got anything there. But anyway, while you're debating whether or not you want to get this guy, there's some videos over here. There's a subscribe button. You can give this video a big ol' like, comment. We love those. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell. You know, all the YouTube stuff. Share with friends. We'll see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.